Hey, what's up guys? It's Brian from J&P Cycles. Today we're going to show you how to remove and replace your handlebars on your 2018 and 19 Road King. In order to get to the top clamp for our handlebars, we're actually going to need to remove some of the front end here, including the headlight. So let's get started on the headlight by removing this Phillips head to allow us to remove the ring. Our next step is we need to remove the outer ring here using these Phillips heads. Note that these up here are just for adjustment up and down. Once we get to this point, just unhook your light and set it off to the side. All right, after your headlight's removed, there's a 5/16 nut under this strip here. So remove that nut, and now you can lift up on this chrome strip, revealing a Phillips head screw. Okay, there is a nut underneath this screw, so once the screw's completely loose, you'll also have a washer as well. The shroud kind of splits into two pieces, so in order to do that, we need to remove the light bar here. It's just these two acorn nuts. This is going to be a 1/2-inch socket that we're using. Once you get these two out, repeat the process on the other side, and then we'll be ready to flip this light bar down. And then disconnect any wiring to completely remove the shroud. Now that we're almost to the top clamp, we need to remove this cover. In order to do that, get the smallest flathead screwdriver you can find. So there's this little notch underneath this ignition switch. Now this is plastic, and obviously you're using metal, so be very careful. Just insert it in that notch and slowly rock it back and forth to pry off this plastic top. Then you can see we have two final Phillips head screws to pull out to remove the cover. All right, next we need to remove the controls. So to remove the master, there's just a Torx bit here. Get these out. And to get the final part of the controls off, use that same Torx bit on the back of your housing body here. Now once we get to the grip, we are gonna have to take this off. So depending on your situation, you may wanna take heed to how you do take it off. I'm gonna actually just blow it off with some air. If you don't have air in your garage, I would recommend using a small screwdriver that's long enough to just work a little gap and work your way off. If you're gonna change the grips and don't really care, just cut them off. After you get your grips off, we can now just slide the controls off the end. All right, once we get to this point, we're not quite out of the woods yet. Now, because this new model is an electronically controlled throttle, you do have this wonderful throttle unit that's inside the handlebars yet. So if you follow it all the way down, you'll see that there's some wiring here. Simply unclip it, and now carefully, we're gonna feed this through. But I'm gonna do it after I remove the bars. That way it makes it a little bit easier on myself. So let's remove the bars first. Use my 1/4 Allen. I'm just gonna pop these off, remove the top clamps, and remove my bars. This is a good time to either brace the bars or cover your tank. That way, when you loosen this completely, your bars don't wanna roll down and risk denting or scratching your tank. Okay, when you get to this point, now we can feed this wire through the bar and pull this out. Take your time. You don't want to damage any of this wiring. Now that we made that look easy, the hard part's going to be reinstalling this in our new bars. Let's grab the new bars, start to feed this through. And I'll show you some tricks on how to do that. Okay, we're gonna actually cheat a bit. And what I mean by that is we have to feed this wire all the way through this new bar. And there's some pretty tight bends on that. And you're just not gonna fish it through. So in order to pilot that and pull it through, I'm actually gonna use some type of wire or string, whatever you have laying around, to feed this through first, tie it off to my new cable, and then carefully pull it back through. So I actually have an old throttle cable that I'm gonna use. If you have safety wire or clothesline, make do with whatever you can get your hands on. Once you get the throttle routed through, make sure you complete this process for both the right and the left-hand side controls. Again, take your time because we don't want to damage anything going around these tight bends. Once you get all the cables pulled through, put some heat shrink on them and tighten it up to protect all the wiring from any type of harmful elements or wear. All right, so after you got your wires ran through the bars appropriately, carefully set the bars back down into the clamps. Make sure you're not pinching any of the wires, and put your top clamp back on. Now, I would suggest sitting on the bike, and before you tighten the clamps down all the way, position the bars where you think they'll be most comfortable and how you want them to feel. Once we're here, make sure to reconnect everything in the stock position and remount the front end. Really, the hardest part about this whole thing is routing the wires through the bars. Just take your time and you'll get through it. Head over to jpcycles.com and use our handlebar finder, where we have hundreds of handlebars available to fit whatever need and style you want. Again, thanks for watching.